Welcome, everyone, to Exponent Philanthropy's 2021 annual conference. I am so thrilled to be able to say those words out loud after we had to cancel last year's conference due to the pandemic. So we are back, and I'm coming to you live from the Exponent Philanthropy offices here in Washington, D.C. If you'll indulge me in a little history, I want to acknowledge that Washington, D.C. was the original territory of the Nacotchtank people, a name which the colonists ended up putting an A in front of and Latinized to Anacostine. And that's the source for what we call the Anacostia River that runs through the district today. So the more you know. Feel free to share in the chat where you're joining us from. I know from the hallway conversations earlier, there's people from all over the country, so say hello to everyone in the chat. While we're meeting virtually this year, we are just as honored as ever to bring you the practical and inspirational experience for and by lean funders like you. We're also celebrating our 25th anniversary as an organization with you today. So all of the stories and the topics that everything you're going to engage with across this conference reflect that member-driven and member-led kind of approach that we take to everything that we do at Exponent and that we have for the past quarter century. My team here, who you've met and many of them online so far, has worked really hard to try to find an online platform that mirrors as much of the warm personal learning experience that you've come to expect from a typical in-person conference of ours. You'll not have to stand in the back of the room though, because the session room is too crowded. You'll be able to still have those interactive opportunities like you would in person, like hallway conversations. I know many of you joined us for that earlier. You'll be able to interact with the speakers in between sessions and after sessions. So we want to encourage you to continue to do that on this virtual platform as you would have in person. Enjoy that learning, enjoy the community that you'll have across the next 3 days. And if you need any help, my team's here to support you. So please ask for help if you need anything. So speaking of inspirational content, we're going to kick off this plenary session, sports pun intended, with a conversation with NFL Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott. To help me welcome you and our speaker, I want to turn things over to Nina Cohen, who's the managing director at Glenmead, which has been a longtime corporate partner of Exponent Philanthropy. Nina?
Great. Thank you, Cynthia, and good afternoon. On behalf of Glenmead, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Exponent Philanthropy's 2021 annual conference and offer a huge thank you to the entire Exponent team for creating the virtual space for lean funders to gather, to learn, to be inspired, and to feel the strength and energy of our community. Glenmead is proud to be a longtime member and supporter of Exponent Philanthropy and to serve the philanthropic community through innovative investment and advisory solutions. We're honored to partner with so many mission-driven funders throughout the country. Collectively, our community of lean funders is achieving outsized impact through strong connections, a willingness to be agile and take risks, and a hands-on approach that leverages all assets to meet the most pressing needs of our time. As you'll hear in a few minutes, NFL Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott, founder of All Stars Helping Kids, exemplifies these qualities. I'm excited to hear Ronnie's inspiring story and all the stories that will be shared throughout the conference. And I'm certain you'll leave this week feeling refreshed, refocused, and ready to amplify your impact. And now I'll turn it back to Cynthia to introduce our esteemed plenary speaker.
Thanks, Nina. So let's just get into it. NFL Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott. He applies the same determination, the same spirit from his football career to his roles today as an entrepreneur, a businessman, and a philanthropist. In 1989, he founded All Stars Helping Kids, a nonprofit organization that invests in emerging nonprofits that are working to disrupt the cycle of poverty for disadvantaged youth in low-income communities. With Ronnie leading the way, All Stars has distributed more than $30 million to nonprofits throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. The combination of his unbelievable tenacity as a player and conscientious concern as a human being make Ronnie one of the seminal figures in American sports. So without further ado, a conversation with Ronnie Lott.
Welcome, my name is David Greco. I'm the Executive Director of All Stars Helping Kids, a proud member of Exponent Philanthropy. And we're so happy to be invited here to speak at the Exponent Philanthropy Conference. Today we're going to be hearing from our founder, NFL Hall of Famer, Ronnie Lott. But before we do that, I'd like to share a little bit more about All Stars Helping Kids.
Founded in 1989 by Pro Football Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott and his wife Karen, All Stars Helping Kids has invested more than $30 million in grants and resources to more than 600 organizations across the Bay Area, impacting the lives of thousands of youth.
We've learned to believe in the beauty of what we're doing and the impact it has, because All Stars believed in what we were doing and the impact that we have.
Each year, All Star selects a cohort of innovative nonprofits to participate in a 3-year intensive program, all designed to help build the organizational capacity, financial sustainability, and community impact of those organizations working to disrupt the cycle of poverty for Bay Area youth.
I think the bigger piece is that we became a family, and it tied us together. And over 3 years, All Stars has always been there to catch us when we needed it and to guide us when we had a route forward.
The unique program provides general operating financial support, quarterly capacity building training, customized one-on-one coaching, technical assistance, and peer networking.
All Stars was unique because they were excited that we were a startup. They weren't saying grow up and come back. They were saying be who you are right now. Who you are is unique. We're interested to watch you grow.
From early childhood to college, All Stars believes access to education, career readiness, and health and wellness are essential to the development of a whole child.
So we're really excited about partnering with All Stars to get that coaching and partnership and leadership around how we scale.
Accelerating solutions to disrupt the cycle of poverty, one youth at a time.
It's great hearing a little bit more about All Stars Helping Kids. And so, Ronnie, I think one of the things that the audience would really be interested in hearing about is that your approach to philanthropy is a lot different from most traditional funders. And you've talked a lot about how your playing experience in football and this idea of finding a rookie, finding somebody, really mentoring and coaching and making them all-stars has influenced you. So could you just kind of talk a little bit about that, share some of your experience and how that influences your philanthropic work?
Yeah, Dave, I think one of the great things is that we are all looking for people who are phenomenal people. And the reason why we are is that we're always looking to see how someone could soar. And so if you think of, to me, when I think of Harriet Tubman was one of the few pioneers that went out and she said to the slaves, I can find a way. I can find a way to help you, and I can find a way to protect you, and I can find a way to get you out of harm's way. Well, in our case, we're Harriet Tubman. We're trying to help some people understand that, you know what, all it takes is a little money, and it not only takes a little money, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of hard work, but we're gonna coach you, we're gonna help you, and by the way, you can start your own organization. And the reason I think that it's important that we start young organizations is that if you think about it, incubating opportunities for people, to me, is not only providing jobs. And when I heard that nonprofits fail as much as they did, I myself, I gotta be the one, and we gotta find ways to help people grow them. And we gotta be able to start them. And we gotta be able to give people the resources and tools to make it happen. They're failing because they don't have enough resources. They might not have hired the right employees. they're struggling because they get behind with certain bills, and especially with COVID right now, we all know that the nonprofit world is having some challenges. And so for me, when I think about what's going on in our society, I know for a fact that failing right now for a lot of people, it has been exhausting. It is exhausting because you're looking around trying to find a place that can give you hope. And I've been in that situation where as a rookie, and you're out there and you're by yourself and you're trying to figure it out and you don't know, and then all of a sudden you have a coach that says, hey, by the way, I can help you. By the way, I can make you better. By the way, you have a chance of being a Pro Bowler. By the way, you have a chance of now being in the Super Bowl. And by the way, you can get better and better and better and better, and to the point where you have confidence. And that's what you've done. And why I salute you is because you're in that role of taking an organization and allowing them to see that they have a chance of having success. Every rookie believes that they're going to make the team. But you know what? 90% of them fail because of a lot of reasons. But to me, it's due to when you really understand how to coach people, you can give them success. And you can teach them how to win. And you can teach them how to stand tall. And that's what we've done at All Stars. That's the secret sauce that we have, that we're able to teach rookies how to do their job and how to win. And more importantly, to lift others up. Because if you think about it, I've seen some of the great nonprofits here. Eastside Prep. I'll never forget when Chris Bishop was just sitting at a picnic table trying to figure out how he could start a school. And by the way, the school that he started was in a little shed. But the idea of him starting that school and looking at all the kids that now go to college, the rewards of being around that environment for me inspires me even more, because there's one guy like Chris Bischoff is saying, I'm just allowing other kids now to flourish. I'm allowing them to see the champion in them, and I'm allowing them to see the best in them. And what I love about Chris is the same thing that you've done, and that is building people up and helping them see success. And by the way, it doesn't happen in most underserved communities like East Palo Alto, where you're seeing Chris and like yourself, which I think is amazing for us, is that we have a leader like Vince Lombardi that's teaching kids and teaching organizations how to win.
That's fantastic. And one of the things I think a lot of people may not know about you is after you left football, right, you really moved into becoming an investor, investing in tech companies and startups here in Silicon Valley. And how has that experience also kind of influenced your approach to working with nonprofits?
Well, first of all, I owe everything to this guy named John Mumford. And the reason I owe it to him is that John Mumford in 1984 said, hey, you could be a limited partner in our fund. And what I saw was an opportunity to learn. And what I saw was an opportunity not only to learn, but to see that other folks that are some of the great endowments around the country investing in these folks. And what I didn't realize was that there was this world of people like John that were doing incredible things here in the Valley. And so when I look back at that experience as an LP and being a rookie and going, you mean what? I'm giving you this and you're gonna do what with it? And by the way, one of the companies is Office Club that went on to be Office Depot. And for me, I made more money on that one on that one deal than I ever made playing early on in my career. So I think what's been phenomenal to me is every day you see somebody walking in from all parts of the world here, changing the world. And not only changing the world, but giving and providing more jobs, more opportunities. And that's what we do with All Stars. Now, we would all like to be Facebook. In our own way, I think we are Facebook because of our sustainability, what we've been able to do, the reach that we have around the Bay Area, and the people that we work with, the relationships with Google, the relationships with other companies, to me, all leads to us being successful. So I've been very, very thankful for all the people that have helped us and supported our organization. And clearly, when I look back in the black and white era of my life, meaning, you know, everything seemed like it was black and white when I was a kid growing up, and now coming here full circle, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful because, like I find out every day, and that is you find out that people just need a little hope. They just need a little success. They just need an opportunity for them to say, COVID, it's gone. I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna find a way, I'm gonna find my path. And that's what this Valley has been for so many people. And All Stars has played its role in trying to give nonprofits a chance to win, just like we've seen with Chris Bischoff.
And I think one of the things that, you know, I think it's a theme that, you know, from back in your playing days, from your as an investor, and definitely something you've really incorporated into All Stars, which again, I don't think you see a lot of in philanthropy, which is this idea of risk taking, right? Is really kind of taking that, making that big bet, you know, taking those big risks. And like you say, with Office Club that became Office Depot, that was like, you know, became big. But for you now, when you mentioned Eastside Prep and Chris Bischoff, are there other grantees that you've worked with that you've really seen taking that risk and the reward that's come with that?
A lot of times you think of data and you think of information, and in sports, that's what it's all about. I mean, clearly, if I know how fast you are, I know that you have a chance of being exceptional. And by the way, if you can throw the ball down the field, or if you can do what Jerry Rice has done, you can be incredible. The question is trying to get kids of color to understand is that they can participate and evaluate and find ways to monitor kids in all types of data. And to me, getting more people in that world to understand that kids of color can be in that world, that's like Jackie Robinson walking on the field saying, you know what, data matters. And not only does it matter, but you know what, I'm one of the first, being some of the first to play with certain organizations around data, around measurement, around understanding and quantifying values of all types of characteristics around sports. So they're not trying to come up with some, you know, thing that is not doable. They're coming up with something that is really a part of the fabric of math every day, and that is, hey, you mean if you run that fast, that can tell me that you can do that. And by the way, math says that it will allow you to be able to understand how you can quantify all that to make you a better athlete. That to me is, again, a Jackie Robinson moment. And the reason it's a Jackie Robinson moment is that now we have more young people of color entering into the market, working with the Warriors, working with organizations here around the NBA. And so how cool is that? I mean, how cool is that we had a chance to help them see success, but more importantly, to open up the doors around data. Now, I can assure you, in this valley, there's not a lot of organizations that can claim that. Yeah. There's not a lot of organizations that can claim that they are teaching and helping kids of color learn about data and learn about what you can do with it. And so I'm proud of that organization because they are a pioneer and they are, ahead of the game.
I think part of the success of that mix and that secret sauce that you were talking about is also this recognition that there's not a one size fits all, right? You got to be adaptive and flexible and kind of nimble and adapt. And I think, with given everything that's happened over the last couple of years with COVID and kind of racial strife and economic disruptions, I know, All Stars has had to adapt to, create a rapid response fund, retool its accelerator work. Can you just talk a little bit about the need to be flexible and adaptive, particularly as philanthropists, as funders?
I look at life right now as playing in snow. I don't know if you ever played in it.
I have not.
Not a lot of people have. I can tell you this, it's really cold. And it's hard to maneuver. It's hard to get around on the field. And the reason why is that there are things that allow the body to slow down. The question is, can you still be functional? Mm-hmm. And so can you be adaptable? And can you understand how to play in those elements? And what I've learned is that the great players, they adjust. One of the great moments for the 49ers is when Jerry Rice in Chicago catches a slant pass and takes it to the house for a touchdown, and everybody was like, well, where'd that come from? And by the way, how could they do that? We could do it because we were able to adapt to the situation, and it worked. And my point is that that's what we do. That's what we do here in the Valley. That's what people do. And what we're trying to teach people, especially people of color, is to be able to say, look, learn how to play in snow. Mm-hmm. Learn how to deal with the virus. Learn how to deal with people. Learn how to understand that there are things that are going to be challenging. There are going to be obstacles. There are going to be moments where things are not going to go your way. But you know what? If you stay with us and you work with us, we'll find a way. We'll figure it out. And that's what I love about our organization is that there are moments last year that I saw for a fact that some organizations were like, I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. But I also saw organizations that said, we're in it. We're ready. We got a game plan. Mm-hmm. And to me, what I love is when you see people knowing that this is the moment where I can get this. I can win. I can overcome this. And they did. And they have. And what is great about that, I remember sitting there on the phone with the young men in San Francisco, with SF Achievers, and I was sitting there going, can you make, they're like, oh no, we got this. And we set a plan, and we did this, and we did that, and I was like, okay, all right. And what's exciting is that it tells you that we're betting on people. Mm-hmm. And we're betting on the resilience of people sometimes, because nothing's a straight line. Nothing's a straight line. And anybody that knows anything about sports, there's not a straight line. But you got to go out, you got to play the game, you got to do it the right way, and you got to execute, and you got to be able to deliver when things go in a different direction. And that's what All Stars has done, and that's what we've been able to do with our cohort.
Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, one of the things, Exponent Philanthropy, really, the funders here are not, these are smaller foundations, family foundations. They don't have the resources of the big, you know, the Gates Foundations and the Ford Foundations of the world. Yet they're trying to tackle some of, you know, extremely difficult issues from, you know, kind of racial equity, social justice, homelessness, hunger, climate change. So, you know, any advice that you would have for how do these smaller funders who don't have these resources, how can they, what can they do to really help kind of maximize their impact as funders, as philanthropists, as partners with their nonprofits out there?
Well, first of all, you need to go see All Stars. And the reason you need to see All Stars is that ultimately we have the answers. I mean, and by the way, here I am, you know, 30 plus years saying the same thing that I would say on the field. And what I mean by saying the same thing that I would say on the field is that I think I'm the best. I think we're the best. And by the way, come to us. We can help you. But I will say, and I know this, is that all of us are still trying to up our game. All of us are still trying to get better. All of us are still trying to understand how to deal with some of the nuances and challenges that we have. I'm just glad that we're in an area where people are being proactive, not reactive. I'm glad that we have organizations that we can lean on and talk to, that can help us and be able to be resources. And then more importantly, I just love the spirit of the Bay Area. I love the spirit of the Bay Areas because it is something that all entrepreneurs do. And they take risks. Yeah. And they take risks with the idea of knowing that they might miss the tackle, they might not make the interception, but if we just make a couple of more plays, we're going to help a lot of people. Yeah. And a lot of people are going to be satisfied by just the fact that we made a couple more plays. And in this world right now, we need more people thinking that way. We definitely need more people thinking, how do we make plays for others so we can all prosper during this challenging time?
Yeah. And one of the things as we're walking in here, you have this nice plaque up on the wall. It says, exhaust every moment. And I know that's a philosophy you had in football and everything, but could you just talk to that and kind of what does that mean, particularly for funders who, again, are trying to tackle some of these, you know, really big social issues?
Well, first of all, if we all step back and we think about exhaust all moments in life, I wanted to make sure that I left everything on the field. And the reason I wanted to make sure I left everything on the field is that I didn't want to have any regrets. And I think that in the nonprofit world, I see so many people sometimes have regrets because, oh, I didn't try. No. You have to have that passion of saying, no matter what, I'm going to find a way. And exhausting every moment to me is exhausting just that, every moment you possibly can do on this earth. And the great ones will exhaust moments to do whatever it takes to find a way to win. And to me, I hope that I continue, and I hope God gives me a chance to continue to exhaust all moments. And I hope that all of us can live with that creed, because ultimately you're here for a really short time. In my dash on my tombstone, I hope it represents that. I hope it represents that I gave all to all the things that I can.
Thank you, Ronnie, for joining us here today. Thank you to Exponent Philanthropy for having us. I hope everyone here enjoys the entire conference, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Ronnie and David and All Stars Helping Kids, including Julie Brown in the chat. Thank you so much for sharing your inspirational story and some behind the scenes information with us today. Here we have a lot more to come in our conference. We have several more plays for you as the conference goes on. We've just begun a lot of the virtual learning and connections that you can experience with us. Want to give you a couple of highlights of what you have to look forward to. Obviously, our educational sessions, some of you were able to join one earlier today. There's a wide-ranging series of topics. They come from all over the Exponent community. We're especially pleased to showcase some lean funders who are embracing a variety of both catalytic and equity-centered practices in their communities. You'll also see in our member spotlights, you will hear directly from lean funders in our community as they tell their stories. So you'll be inspired to see the big things that small funders can do in their own communities. Connection opportunities, hallway conversations, definitely feel free to drop in between sessions, sometimes during sessions, into the hallway to have conversations with folks. People who joined us this morning really loved it. You can go around to different tables and talk to different people anytime throughout the conference that's available to you. And finally, at the end of the day, we'll have some after chats with speakers. If you wanted to ask a question, jump in to hear what others learned, continue a conversation that maybe was cut short, you can join the after chats. And finally, on Thursday, we will have a peer coaching session. We heard about the value of one-on-one coaching today in Ronnie's conversation, but we also have the opportunity for you to help coach each other and have a good space to discuss and reflect on some of the challenges that you're experiencing with others. As mentioned before, we have a help desk available if you're having tech issues or other kinds of questions. Click on that help desk in the left-hand navigation bar, and we have a team ready to help you. Finally, huge thank you to the Exponent Philanthropy staff for all your work in putting this virtual conversation and virtual conference together. All the speakers, the sponsors, the partners who are bringing their experience and expertise to our community. You'll see us pop into your sessions to make sure everything's going smoothly. I hope you enjoy the rest of today's sessions and the rest of the conference. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you virtually.